All right, so hey everybody, this is Bronson. I have Crystal Sikes with me today. She is the other half of Keto Brick, Keto Savage, the better half. Mm-hmm. I like it. And I'm here visiting, so seemed like a good idea to get some input from you, get some feedback, hear your story a little bit. Mm-hmm. And people may be wondering, why am I getting, how old are you?
28.
28 years old. So she's 28 years old, and we're talking about things that affect people over 40, right? My focus is on working with the elderly population.
Oh my.
But really, it's not about age as much as it is information.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a different story. Everybody has experiences. And regardless of how old you are, you're going to relate to something that someone has to talk about. As well as I want people that are in their 40s, in their 50s, to realize that you're not too old and you can get started at any point in time. Mm-hmm. But then even for people that are in your age range, if you start now, you won't have to worry about it when you're 40 and 50 and 60 and everything else. So it kind of works. It doesn't matter how old you are when we talk about health and fitness, because it applies across the board. So tell us a little bit about you. Like, you've done bodybuilding shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you always been athletic? Have you always been into fitness? Like, what's...
It's been off and on. I've never been into nutrition until I started keto. I was in kind of the medical field there for a little while, so of course you learn a little bit. But in high school, I did sports every season. I did some sport or something. But then between like 16 and 21, I did nothing with my life, and I just didn't care. I ate all the junk. I did all the whatever. But then I started lifting again. I think it was like 22 or 23 is when I actually started lifting, and I did my first competition in 2018.
Okay, and that was a physique, bodybuilding?
It was a figure bodybuilding competition.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Okay, and how was that? What was that process like?
So difficult.
Difficult? No, what?
Well, it was easy in a sense because it was already part of my lifestyle. Like, Robert had already been competing and things like that, so I had known what to expect. Mm-hmm. And my lifting did not change, but I increased my cardio, I decreased my calories. I am not a get in a bikini and heels type of person, and that's what you do. So I had to practice walking in heels all the time and things like that. So it was definitely it was breaking through a lot of things that I'm really uncomfortable with, or that I needed to challenge myself to do. I need to have a goal in order to fulfill the determination in me. Yeah. So if I don't have a goal that I'm working towards, I kind of just am like, whatever, I'm doing this and doing that.
Yeah, I've actually struggled with that a lot in the last 8 months, the last year really, since this whole COVID thing started, is I don't have access to equipment. Okay, well, what can I work on if I don't have that? Like, I had goals that I was working on before, now I don't because I can't. Mm-hmm. So trying to readjust and figure out, like, hey, what goals do I want to set for myself that I actually can work on? Right. It's a real challenge, because then you're like, well, I can't think of anything. I'm just going to sit here on my butt. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you gotta having goals. For me, I know it used to be competitive goals. I wanted to do something competitively, and then it just became I want to get better fitness wise. I reached a lot of those goals. Those goals. And, now it's like, okay, I'm almost 50. Where am I going? What do I want to do? So readjusting and kind of figuring that out makes a huge difference. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that, going through that process, you got goals, you were determined, you did it. What were some of the repercussions in your life after you did that training and you changed all those things? Yeah.
So I was over-exercising, lots of cardio because I was trying to lose the body fat. I should have started at a different point, and so I had to put in a lot more work to get to the point that I wanted to be. Okay. But afterwards, because my calories were so low, and we do refeeds, and those are great because you count how many calories, you figure it out. But the day of the show, you kind of let yourself go loose and you eat whatever you want.
Right. And like right after the show, you're like, I'm going to go get pizza and ice cream. Yeah.
I did not have any carbs, but we went out to a Brazilian steakhouse and I had all the meat in the whole place. And then I made a gigantic keto brownie and I went crazy with that. And it was the night that Robert and I got engaged.
Oh, so wow, I didn't know that.
It was like a huge celebration. He proposed to me on stage. But
On stage? I
on
did
stage.
not know. I gotta hear that story.
There's a YouTube video
Okay.
on it. I'll show you.
Okay.
But yeah, it was, so that day I kind of just went crazy, and somehow that triggered me and my hormones and previous issues with eating.
Yeah.
That I started binge eating and just like really going crazy with it and not really knowing what to do with myself, because I could not get full until the point where I ate so much that I would throw up. And
Gotcha.
at one point I counted, because I knew what I was doing was wrong, so I counted to figure it out, and I was eating about 6,000 calories.
In a meal?
In a day.
In a day?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, which for me, on a regular basis, I'm about
like,
23 to 2,500 calories, so that's like three times
what you should be eating.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So it was a lot, especially for someone who had just downregulated their metabolism, and it was a mess, hot mess.
So for anybody listening that doesn't understand what downregulation of metabolism is, basically as you eat less, your metabolism slows down. I mean, that's as simple as it is. Your body says, I don't have as much things to work with. I need to and I say slow down, but basically it's trying to be more efficient with what it's being given. So you're not getting as much energy burn. You're not getting as much utilization. So your muscle growth slows down, your fat burn slows down, everything slows down. Your hormones go, slow it all down, like we can't do as much. So when you're eating more, usually you can upregulate your metabolism, but you don't go from eating 1,800 calories a day to 6,000 calories a day.
Right, yeah.
That's not really good.
Yeah.
When you were doing that, did you feel full? Like it took you that much to feel full in a day?
I would never feel full.
You would never feel full.
And I think it was just an off balance of all of the hormones, because I could just eat and eat and eat and eat and eat, and my stomach I would kind of feel like the pressure in my stomach, but I never felt the triggers in my brain like you are full.
Yeah. And that's a dangerous thing, because I hear it all the time. It's like the mantra of carnivore, particularly carnivore, right? Eat till you're full. Well, unfortunately, most people don't know what that is. So it's really hard to tell someone who doesn't have an understanding of what being satiated feels like to say, just eat till you're full. Because they're eating 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 calories and be like, how come I'm not losing weight? How come this? How come that? It's like, well, let's track first. And that's where tracking is a very important tool. I definitely don't believe, and I don't use it this way when I'm working with people, as a crutch that they have to use forever for the rest of their life, right? You use it to train your mind, to train your body. This is how I feel when I eat this much. I have a number in front of me. I know, I weighed it. This is exactly what I have. This is how I feel. This is all I need. We have to retrain sometimes.
Right.
Like, even though I feel hungry, I've really eaten enough that I don't have to eat more. And then you have to kind of retrain your body to say, okay, I'm not really hungry. I just feel that way because I don't understand.
Right.
Okay. So how long is it taking you to is that still a struggle? I mean, that's been a couple of years. Is that still a struggle?
It's been a couple of years. This spring it will have been 3 years. The first year was probably the hardest, and it took me about, I'd say, 6 to 8 months till I could actually track food again, because it would just make me go crazy.
Yeah.
So I waited that long to start tracking again, knowing that there was something wrong with me, that I needed to figure things out. But I started tracking again to figure out where I needed to be to really try to reset my body. And then after about a year, I just started eating intuitively because I had reset myself. And I remember telling Robert at one point, I finally feel full.
Yay.
And that was that was such a huge thing, because I was only letting myself eat so much, or tracking to eat a specific amount. And then finally one day it just clicked, and I thought, oh my gosh, I finally feel full. I finally feel like I'm okay,
Good. Okay, cool. And so you're eating intuitively now. You don't measure a lot. You don't do a lot of stuff. What kind of stuff do you eat? Because Robert's basically carnivore. He's super high fat and moderate protein, which is kind of funny because I'm opposite. I'm super high protein, moderate fat. But you aren't. I've seen you eating veggies and some other things. So what's your kind of profile of what you eat in a day?
So right now, I don't have a fitness goal per se. So I'm trying to live my best life and my best body for my children, because they're going to their life starts with me, and so I'm trying to bring all the things that they need or that they will need in the coming years, and make sure that I'm providing myself with the most nutrient dense foods. So with the beginning of January, I did start tracking food again, just making sure that I have enough protein, I have enough fat. My carbs usually stay below 20 grams of total on a regular basis, but I do sometimes have a meal with vegetables, a yogurt, or like a shake. Yeah. But as of right now, I'm trying to every single week add in something new that is nutrient dense or that my body could benefit from. So one week it was adding in red meat. I'm not great with eating red meat. It just doesn't suit me well, but I know it's super important. So I incorporated that one week. Eggs are a really great source of proteins and fats. Eggs and bacon,
man, it's the perfect food.
I know. And then fermented vegetables, just like sauerkraut, things like that. And the next following week will be organ meats and things like that. So I'm just really trying to, not that my diet was ever dirty, but I'm just trying to clean it up and go slowly and introducing new things, and then when I get to that point, then I can have all that.
And you love liver, right? Liver's the best.
It's my favorite ever.
We're both on the same sheet of music when it comes to liver. Not happening.
So bad.
I do. So I do liver in the dissected powdered capsule form. That's how I get my liver. So
I can't do it any other way, really. I'm trying, but it's hard.
So what is some of the things that we've talked about while I've been here this last few days? You mentioned some physical things that you have that force you to kind of eat a certain way. What do you have that, if you don't mind sharing, like some of the things that you're dealing with physically, health-wise, I don't know what the right word would be, that kind of put a little bent on how you have to eat?
So it's actually the reason I started keto. When I was like 20, 21, somewhere in there, I was diagnosed with gastroparesis and slow transit colon, IBS, like all the things that you could possibly have. I had super bad heartburn, acid reflux. So I had all the scopes, all the scans, everything. And they put me on a super high sugar diet to help everything just go through. And they told me to stay away from fat. And at that time, Robert had already started keto. So we ended up doing the exact opposite of what they said.
I still don't understand, how is high sugar going to fix your gut issues?
Because it is absorbed and digested just like that, and you don't have to have, you don't have to break down the fat, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So they had me on a high sugar liquid diet.
Oh wow!
It was all shakes, yogurts, things like that. So I transitioned to keto, and it's done really well, but I usually keep in a shake or yogurt daily, and that's just to have like a really easy digested meal. But I started with like 80% fat, and that was really, really great. But as time's gone on, I'm now between like a 68 and a 72% fat. I like protein. I just feel really good right there. I have plenty of fat, and then the rest of it comes from my protein.
Okay. So, and you're symptom free. You don't have it. It's not an issue now, unless you eat a little too much red meat. You said.
Yeah. So it's a little bit too much meat in general, or too many vegetables. So I have to find a nice balance, and most of the time I'm okay if I just keep in a shake or yogurt at a point in the day. But yeah, just having like a nice equal balance of those. But most of the time I don't do a lot of vegetables. I'll do maybe like a couple of diced up onions in my eggs, or something like that.
Some asparagus and pork. I saw you post the other day.
Oh yes, that was delicious. Little salads and things like that. I don't steer away from the vegetables, but I don't have a ton.
You're not like trying to eat the rainbow every day.
Right. No. Yeah. Mostly just a few greens.
Okay. What are your thoughts about? You mentioned a couple minutes ago. You said you track net carbs or total carbs, not net carbs. What's your thought process behind that?
Well, for me, anytime I put something in my mouth, my body reacts to it. And I noticed when we very first started keto, we counted net, and I did so much better counting total because then I knew exactly what was going in my body. Even if it's fiber, if it's sugar, alcohol, if it's straight up sugar, in my opinion, everyone should count everything that goes into their mouth if you're going to count.
Sure.
If you're going to count everything that goes into your mouth, because your body has to do something with it. It doesn't just like
there's
go in, go out. There
Right.
there is a response. That's
There's
exactly
response.
it. So that is why I personally prefer to count total, because my body's just going to respond to it.
Yeah, because if you have a reaction to it, and you need to track it.
Yeah.
That's what you're when you're tracking. You're tracking this information. I'm putting this down because I want to see what my body does.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense to not put half of what you're doing
Right.
in that equation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially with the sugar alcohols, because you are going to have a
Right.
nice, good response to that.
Right.
Yeah.
And not even hormonal, but it affects your gut. It affects
Yep.
inflammation. I mean, there's so many other
Mhm.
aspects. Keto is not just cutting out carbs because carbs turn into sugar.
Mm-hmm. I know, mind
Right?
blowing.
Keto is about reducing the inflammatory effects and the hormonal imbalances that
Mhm.
carbs and carb-like substances cause.
Mm-hmm.
It's really what it's about. It's not just about being in ketosis.
Right.
That's like this much
Mhm.
of the big picture. Okay? And yes, I really did just say that. All right, let's talk about fitness.
Okay.
Because that's what I love to talk about.
Mhm.
What do? You said you don't currently have any goals. Like you're not competing.
Right.
You're not, you don't do CrossFit, so you don't have like a CrossFit competition
Mhm.
coming up or anything like that. What are you doing right now just to maintain and try to just stay healthy? What's your routine look like in a week?
Not cardio.
Not cardio.
I hate it with all of my life. I hate it. I used to do.
Do you just work out really fast and get your heart rate up?
Yeah, right.
Sometimes?
I do make myself do cardio every once in a while, but
Yeah.
we go on a walk every day, at least a mile, and then I do the jump rope. That is like my form of cardio.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
just don't enjoy the other ones.
Sure.
And so for resistance training, I find resistance training of some sort is super important for anybody of any age. And so I generally train with Robert. For a while, I was doing my own thing.
Okay.
I was having some hormone issues and things like that. So as I was recovering from like over stress and things like that,
Mhm.
I took it a little bit lighter, did a lot more bands, things like that. I did try to start training for Strong Woman,
Oh, okay.
and I love it. I love that style of training.
How come you didn't do farmer's carries with us yesterday?
Yeah, that's what I told Robert. I was like, I've already done my share. But when I started doing that, my body kind of went back into that overstressed drive
Mhm.
right there. So right now I'm doing more of a bodybuilding style, working out with Robert. It's helpful to have your partner there and
Oh, absolutely.
be able to bounce ideas off of each other and watch each other's form and all of that. Have someone to spot you. So I love the bodybuilding style. I've thought so much about doing CrossFit or boxing or
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
and eventually we might go off into those different little things or
Sure.
throw in something that we like from another sport.
We got some kettlebell work in this week, so he
Yeah.
can bring in some kettlebell stuff for you now. And
We haven't had any of those, and so yeah, it's kind of nice that we have them now. He can show me all the things. But yeah, it's right now. It's just a daily trying to make myself better
Okay.
and strengthening my body that it can do anything. I want to be able to go into life and do anything that is asked of me. And
yes, I'm glad you said that because that's what it's
yeah,
about. That's what it's all
yes.
about, right? It's
Yeah.
not about six packs. It's not about being the strongest or fastest or
Mhm.
looking the best. It's about being able to do things when you need to do them.
right, yes.
That's what it's all about.
Yep, it absolutely is. And with having the business, like we are moving some heavy stuff. You know, it's heavy. You got to push. You got to pull. You got to do it. And I think if you don't do this on a regular basis, you're gonna have a hard time with it. And I don't feel like there's anything in my life up to this point that I have not been able to do because I lack the strength or I
Awesome.
lack the ability. And then as you get older, that just gets more and more important.
More important,
Yeah.
right? Because you're fighting time. You're fighting age.
Mhm.
If you're eating well, if you're eating keto, carnivore, you're taking out a lot of the extra stress in your body already from your nutrition perspective.
Mhm.
You have less to fight against because your body's not getting worn down as quickly.
Right.
But then if you're also doing resistance training, doing cardio to a degree,
Yes.
whatever degree fits your lifestyle best, then you're just adding to that so you can live longer and you can
Mhm.
do more things for a longer period of time. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Awesome. What do you think is, for you, the number one struggle you have with maintaining a healthy lifestyle?
Oh.
Surprise!
Yeah, I don't. Okay, this is gonna be like a really bad answer for you, probably.
No.
I don't think it's a struggle anymore.
Awesome. Okay.
And I think for me, it's not a struggle because it's part of what I do. It's part of my job. It's Robert is in there. My husband is on the same page as me, and I've made it my life. Before, it was not so much my life, and I had a lot of people saying, you're gonna kill yourself with this diet, you're gonna, why are you lifting that weight, do you want to be huge,
Right.
So I think it's just
because you look like a man, obviously.
Right, yeah, right, obviously. But I think it was the naysayers at first, and after living it for so long and seeing myself just get healthier, I don't care what they say anymore. So I think now I've been doing it long enough where I feel like
this is just how this is who I am. It's how it is, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean every morning you get up, you want to go for a walk, or you want to go to the gym, or
definitely not?
How do you handle that? How do you handle those situations? Robert just picks you up and pulls you out and says, "Let's go."
Yeah. I think it's just not an option. Yeah. When we say that we're going to go on a walk every morning, it means that we get up and we go on a walk every morning, even if it's freezing outside.
Yeah.
And with my workouts, same thing. I go in, my biggest thing is if you can get through the first set or 10 or 15 minutes of your workout, sometimes that is your workout. Sure. But if you can get through the first set of what you're doing and you still don't feel good after your warm-up, after your first set, you still don't feel good, then maybe recognize what your body's telling you. But if you're just being lazy and it's just your brain, usually by the time you get in there, get your first set done, you're already in the zone. So you just continue going with it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I don't always have the motivation to do it. I think it's just like the determination and drive that I know I'm going to be better and I'm going to feel better afterwards.
Gotcha. So you are on Instagram as the Lady Savage.
Yeah, the.lady.savage.
The.lady.savage. Okay. Now, why did you start on Instagram? Is that because of the brand and everything, or is that just something that you wanted to do?
I had an Instagram before.
Okay.
And it was all my personal life. My family was on it, things like that. And when I started my fitness one, I had just got my training certification. Okay. And I was very excited about starting that. I actually started Crystal Love Coaching. My maiden name is Love. Started that. I was just really excited to share. Yeah. And then it kind of just grew and grew and grew, and we grew the Keto Brick and all of that. And now it's just been like a fun thing for me. Okay. There's a lot of things that I do in business that has nothing to do with Lady Savage. But for me, it's like I have a community there of people who I can share and they can share, and we all learn from each other. Yeah. And I don't know, it's just a fun way of being able to empower other people and feel supported, and I don't know, I just love it. I love it all.
All right.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about, for anybody who doesn't know what Keto Brick is.
Right.
Tell us about Keto Brick. That's something that you guys do that I love. If you haven't tried a Keto Brick, go to ketobrick.com and try Keto Brick.
So Keto Brick is a 1,000-calorie meal replacement bar, and we actually started making these things with Robert's first keto competition for bodybuilding, and it was just a really great way of getting in plenty of calories, plenty of fat without giving you the bloat and distended belly and all of that kind of stuff. And now it's just like a really great way of getting in some extra fat on the go, before your workout, after your workout, whatever. Has a little bit of protein and very little carbs, but
a lot of salt. It's got sodium.
Yeah, it's got a lot of sodium. If you are lacking in that,
real salt.
You're right. Yes, exactly. So it started as by athletes for athletes, but it has grown into so much more. Lots of different people like it. A new thing lately has been breastfeeding moms.
Really?
To have something convenient that they can grab and go, and it has a lot of salt.
That makes sense.
Got a lot of fat.
Yeah.
So there's just been it's just grown, and we didn't expect that. We thought, this is just going to be for athletes, but it's grown to so much more.
Yeah, because
many
hunters, I'm sure they brought, when they went hunting, they brought a ton of those with them, right? I'm sure. That's cool. Okay. Yeah. So I know for me, when I'm looking for something not carbs,
Mm-hmm.
that I want kind of that sweetie, that snack feeling, it's a keto brick. I melt a keto. So I melt a keto brick. I got chocolate protein powder. I mix it up, a peanut butter keto brick, or chocolate peanut butter cup.
Yep.
Oh, it's so good.
So good.
With some chocolate peanut butter or chocolate protein powder, melt it, mix it up, and get like a little chocolate pudding kind of thing.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I know.
So
yeah.
Awesome. Well, do you have anything that you want to share, like lessons learned in life, words of wisdom from the Lady Savage that can kind of help people along their journey before we end this?
I think something that I always go to is learning to love yourself for where you are and where you want to be. If you don't love where you are now,
yes,
you're never going to love yourself later on when you're stronger or less weight or whatever. You have to learn to love who you are, where your body is, everything that comes along with it, whether it be the loose skin, the stretch marks, the body fat, the muscle, whatever it is. Learn to love it now so that along the journey you can continue to love it all the way through.
And you appreciate the journey more.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
And it's not, this could be a whole nother thing that we talk about with the body positivity movement and learning to love yourself. Loving yourself doesn't mean you're good where you are, you can stay there forever.
Right.
So I'm glad you said learn to learn to love yourself where you are and where you're going to be. Because loving yourself means you're trying to improve yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
So complacency is not the same as loving yourself.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
A whole nother bit. We can do a whole nother podcast. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for letting me stay here for the last few days.
You're welcome.
And I know Jack will probably bark when I leave again. But
yes, he will.
but it's been nice. And